Hello viewers, this is Top TV, Top Radio. My name is Doris. This program is on parenting. We have had several programs on parenting. In our last program, we talked about the role of parents in developing their children's talents, and I would like to revisit the issue of talents in this program. The talents can be noticed, or parents can observe the talents in their children. Some talents may be very good. People like them. There are other talents that people have a negative attitude towards them, or negative attitudes towards them. Talents, like we said in our last session, is a natural ability, and it can be anything. But there are some things like talents that are related to manual work, mechanic, maybe dressmaking and all that. Some of us parents, if we realize our children are talented in those fields, they may not be very appealing to us. But like I mentioned, there are those others that seem to be very interesting, entertaining, like music, like dancing, the DJs that we have seen, and some of them seem to fetch a lot of money, and I just want us to think about all this and see where our children are. In our society today, we are moving towards creativity, innovation. We are moving towards actually talent, like the CBC is all about. And maybe as parents, we need to be a bit flexible. We need to be flexible. We need to open up our hearts to all these things, to all these shifts, because sometimes if you take a child to a certain direction, and that child is not so keen on that direction, then maybe we shall just be wasting our time as parents. The child may decide that this is my father's option, it wasn't mine, or my mother's line, it is not my line. So you put your money there, and then you find that all the money is gone to waste. A child goes to university and does a course, finishes, and like we have heard of children who have taken certificates to their parents, and then they say, this one is yours, dad or mom. Me, I want now to go and do my talent. And so you are left there, because this time now the child is above 18, can make his own decisions. So it's very easy for us to make decisions for the children when they are young, and we can tell them go left, go right, and they actually do it. But then at some point you realize that is not possible for us to really direct what they want to do in life. So as parents, as we bring up our children, maybe we need to give time to that fact that we understand actually who these children are, what they can really do honestly, what can the children do, what are they capable of doing. And so that even when they're in school, like now CBC is coming, even when they're in school, we are able to know exactly where their potential is, where their interest is, and then perhaps be able to discuss with these children. You know, the older parents, the likes of myself and maybe others, we may have been very focused on a child should go this way, a child should go this way. But where we are going, it may not work for most of most of us parents. It may not work. And the fact that CBC is here, some children are already telling the parents, me, I want to be a footballer. I want to do music and all those things. We may have to shift from the idea of you must be a doctor, you must be a teacher, you must be this and that, and see what our children are carrying in themselves. And therefore, like with the CBC, then it means that we really have to engage our children. We really have to maybe work with our teachers so closely and try to understand, so that if we decide that this child is going to be academic oriented, which direction should the child take? If the child is going to maybe a musician or a mechanic and all those, which direction should this child take? It is now going to be a bit tricky for parents. It's going to be a bit tricky because it's not just going to be A or B or B minus, B plus. It's not just going to be like that. So it is such a challenge which we need to to accept and to try to start working on as early as now. Those of us with the children who have gone to junior secondary, I know already children have gone to school and have found challenges. They're trying to cope up with the new system. They are used to many teachers. Now there are very few teachers there, and what we call teething problems, they are there in our junior secondary, and most students or children are perplexed. They are even wondering what kind of life is this. Maybe parents, we need to think about this. Let's put ourselves in the shoes of those children. Let us see that they have moved from the primary school to junior secondary school, and in junior secondary school there is only one class and there are only 2 or 3 teachers, and there are just a few in a class. And maybe we need to understand, and let us be watchful, let us be very close to these children, let us try to understand what challenges they are facing right now. They could be facing serious challenges, transitional challenges, because it has never happened. They have never known such a transition. And when they started in standard 1, they knew you go all the way. Along the way, you go all the way up to 8. But along the way, they were told now, you will not go to 8. And things changed. So it is actually something, as parents, let us try to be very close. Let us try to see whether these children are having some challenges. Let's talk to them when they're coming from school. Find out if they are learning. Find out if they are learning. There are so many, there are so many. I think there were over 3 million, those who did okay, I'm not very sure with the figures, maybe next time. But, there are so many in our country, and if we do not get to understand what they are going through, we may find it difficult to help them to accept and to move on. We know in some schools they didn't have teachers for quite some time, or if they had teachers, the teachers went for training. The first weeks they were not learning. So you can see that most of these children could be very discouraged. Those who loved, books must have had it very rough. And try to see how they are spending their day, try to see how they are coping up. Maybe those who are in boarding school, they are better off, but those in day schools, try to understand what is happening, because we may create gaps that are going to destroy these children. So let us be very close, let us understand. Let's try to ask them what they are doing in school, whether they wrote anything. Please try to see whether they are writing something, or whether the CBC formula is working, and whether the teachers' training is working for them, so that we are able to work with these children. And I think it is important for us to have open eyes on this, because we should not just assume that everything is all right. Everything may not be all right. Things may not be very good for these young people who have transitioned to junior secondary. They may be having challenges, and I wish to ask that parents, let's support our children also by trying to pay their fees, because they could also be having fee challenges, and maybe the schools are straining, so they are not giving them the right services or services that are required for them. So it is my desire that as parents with the junior secondary students, we do something about it. Let's not forget that actually we are talking about talents, and we are saying that if these children are in junior secondary, and very soon we shall want to take them to whatever direction that is best for them, then we have to be very close. We need to be talking to these children to know exactly where their talent is, where their passion is, so that you don't just waste the child, taking the child in a direction that is not going to be very helpful to him or her. And therefore, as we think about that, let's pray that all shall be well for our children. And I'm also hoping that if your child was to go to junior secondary, you have encouraged that child to go to school. I also hope that our children are not at home. Those who did standard 6, please, regardless of the challenges we have faced, take your child to junior secondary school and let the child be in school. It's better a child is in school than a child being outside school. At least in school, the child will have friends, the child will have a book to read, the child will have some playground, will play a little, will have teachers to guide and counsel. But if you leave the child at home and you are going to work, you are going to your business, and then you leave the child who is not doing anything, it is not very good for that child. So parents, I wish on that note to encourage you, please, let's value education, and there's JCS parents, make sure that your child is in school, and that child will never regret. Even you as a parent, I don't think you regret for having your child go to school. Otherwise, thank you for listening. I wish you the best, and of course, wish you a good Easter, and as we get transformed for better. God bless you.